Hey, it's Peter, and I wanted to do a really quick video while I'm in the middle of lowering the Lambo. I haven't had a chance to do any separate Lambo videos in a few weeks now, but when that's done, when the car is lowered, I will make another video about that. But for right now, I wanted to answer a common question that's always appearing in the comments questions on all of my videos. And those questions are usually about how much one needs to make to afford to buy a car like the '04 Gallardo, which is going for anywhere from $100,000, even some on down to the $80,000 range, the ones with the higher miles. How much money do you need to make to qualify to finance a car like that if you're going to finance it? And number two, is it okay to finance an exotic car such as a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a McLaren, whatever car you're thinking of? Is it okay to finance, or should I wait to pay cash? So I'm going to let you know my thoughts on those two things, those two common questions here in this video. So let's start out answering the first question. How much does one need to make in order to afford a $100,000 car such as the '04 Gallardo, the starter supercar, if you will? Well, first of all, I just want to put a disclaimer out there saying that I don't know your current situation. Everyone's different. I don't know how long you've been at your current place of employment or how long you've owned your current business. I don't know how much your monthly expenses are. I don't know your credit score. I don't know your spending habits. I don't know anything about you. So this question may or may not apply to you. But here's what I think. Well, first of all, think about this. Car lenders usually do not want to see an auto loan exceed 20% of your monthly income. That means if you make $2,000 per month, then let me see if I can figure out what 20% of that is. Then your car payment should not be over $400 per month. That's 20% of $2,000. Now, the car payment on a $100,000 Lamborghini, assuming you put 20% down, which is $20,000, and you finance it for the longest period possible. And when you finance a Lamborghini, an exotic car like a Lamborghini or any of those high dollar supercars, there's special financing for those types of cars. You don't go through normal banks usually when you finance an exotic car. And those banks allow you to finance these high dollar cars for periods of up to 10 years. And the reason for that is because that allows you to get that monthly payment down to the lowest amount possible. And they also do that because they know that the average exotic car owner usually does not keep their vehicle for that length of time. They know that they're going to end up trading it in for something new in a couple of years anyways. That's what statistics tell them. So if you go to buy a supercar, an exotic car, around the $100,000 range, just know that if you have good credit and that you have 20% that you can put down, as in cash, let's say $20,000, and you finance it for the maximum term of 10 years, assuming your credit allows this and your income allows this, then your monthly payment should be around $1,000 per month. Now, assuming that your payment for this car is $1,000 per month, and remember, this should not exceed 20% of your monthly income, so your monthly income should be at least, well, let me do the math here. So $1,000, I just did the math really quick there, is 20% of $5,000 per month. So $5,000 per month, what is that per year? It's 5 times 12, 4 times 12 is 48, so that's like $60,000 per year is all you need to make to qualify for a $1,000 per month car payment. Now, with that being said, just because the bank will approve you for this $1,000 per month car payment, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford it, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you should go ahead and finance the car. Banks love to let people overextend themselves because, it means that, every time they put out a loan, they are obviously making money. But you have to think about, this equation that I just said does not even take into account all of your other expenses. It doesn't take in expenses you may have for a daily driver, your home, your monthly living expenses. It doesn't even take that into effect. So my personal feeling on this is if you want to pay $1,000 per month for a car like an '04 Gallardo in the $100,000 range, again, it could be a Ferrari, whatever, then I would personally say I wouldn't want to see you making any less than $100,000 per year in net profit. Okay, now net profit does not mean that you run a business and your business generates $100,000. It means after all of your business expenses and everything, if you make at least $100,000 in net profit, you should be able to afford that payment fine. But again, I don't know your monthly expenses. You could have credit card debt. You could be, I don't know. That's just saying. Personally, if you're net profiting at least $100,000 per year, you should easily be able to afford a $1,000 per month car payment. But again, I don't know that. I don't know you. That's just based on what I feel. Now, if any of this doesn't make sense to you and you're not sure of anything, make sure you talk to the bank in full detail. If you're in the process to buy one of these cars, make sure you call the bank first and ask questions, or just call up a Lamborghini dealer, a reputable dealer like Lambo Dallas, and ask to talk to the finance guy, and they'll answer all the questions that you'd ever have about financing a car such as a Lamborghini. Now on to the second part of this question, which is it okay to finance an exotic car such as a Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever? And a lot of people have different views on this. And this is kind of a little controversial topic because, as you know, I chose to finance my car. And I would say probably every other day I get a comment in my videos with some idiot who says, Peter, you don't own this car. The bank does because you financed it. You should have waited and you should have paid cash for it. Well, that's partly true, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a time when it's okay to finance a car like this, and there's a time when you absolutely should not. So when is it okay to finance an exotic car such as a Lambo? Number one, you obviously should have a healthy income. You should be able to easily afford the payment. That goes without saying. Okay. Number two, you should be able to buy the car in cash outright, or be pretty close to that. Okay, that's the second thing. If you can buy the car outright, then why not finance it? Because why should you take $100,000 of your money, right, and dump it into a car? Unless you have multiple millions in the bank, which the average business owner like myself does not, at least yet, anyways. I don't have multiple millions in the bank. But I could pay for my car cash if I wanted to. But the reason why I chose not to is because my money is better put to use in reinvesting it. Reinvesting it into my business, keeping it in my bank account in case something was to ever go wrong with my business. It's always good to have that cash, that cash cushion there. And also, as a business owner, I can reinvest that cash into other ways that will grow. I can basically take that $100,000 and I can turn it into $500,000 over the course of a year or two. It's better for me to know that I can buy the car if I wanted to, but why not leverage the bank's money and basically be into this car for the lowest amount possible. Now, if I do it right, and if you do it right, you could theoretically drive a $100,000 supercar or own it for practically nothing for a year or so. I mean, think about it. The '04 Gallardos, right? They have pretty much hit the bottom, the rock bottom as far as depreciation goes. They're really not depreciating anymore. I mean, brand new, they were like 175, 180 grand and up. Now they're going from anywhere from, low 70s to $100,000, $105,000, $110,000, depending on the car, how many miles is on it, the condition. There's a lot of factors there, but let's just say the average price for an '04 Gallardo is between $90,000 and $100,000. Okay, so those cars really aren't going to depreciate anymore. So if you finance one, right, you put $20,000 down. That means from day one you were into this car for $20,000, and let's say you own the car for 12 months. So you pay $12,000 over the course of 12 months. Now you're into the car for $32,000, right? Okay. Now you could keep the car for a year, and let's say you decide to sell the car at the end of the year. And you could sell it for $100,000. You could sell it for $105,000. You could either get back or close to get back the money that you put into the car. So in the end, you could own a Lamborghini for $10,000 for a year. I mean, you could own it for a year, have a low monthly payment, have a low upfront investment, and if you decide to sell it at the end of the year, you're not going to lose much money because there's no more room for the car to depreciate. Since it's an '04, it's not going down in value, so you're not going to have to take a huge loss when you sell it a year later. Even better, if you find a good deal on one for like $80,000, right? Let's say you find a good deal on an '04 Gallardo, especially during the winter. Dealers are wanting to move cars right now. You can get a really good deal on one for probably $85,000 right now. And you might even be able to get away with putting less than 20% down. I don't know. And maybe a year from now, in the middle of the summer, you decide to sell the car to someone else. Well, you could sell it for $90,000, let's say. You say you got a good deal on it, you can actually make money on it. So it all depends on the year. If going after like an older supercar, like the '04 Gallardos, kind of hit rock bottom, you would be stupid to not finance it unless you just have money to burn. Because really, I mean, it's not a huge, you can actually be into owning one of these cars for extremely cheap, or you can actually even break even or even turn a profit. If you don't believe me, go ahead and Google Amy Sangster, which is I think she's Robert Himmler's girlfriend. Anyway, she bought a black '04 Gallardo and did the same thing. She bought it for a lower price. She drove the car for a year, and she actually sold it and made money on it. She actually made like $5,000 or $7,000 when she sold it because the car did not depreciate over that year. Okay, so go ahead and Google that. There's a whole write-up about it. But that's my thoughts. If you can afford the car, if you can afford to pay the car, if you can afford to buy the car in cash, and if you can comfortably afford the payment, there's nothing wrong with financing it. Don't listen to these idiots who post on YouTube that say, "Oh, you shouldn't finance a car." Those people are idiots, and they most likely work a day job, probably make $30,000 to $40,000 per year, and they'll never be able to afford a Lamborghini anyways. But what you should worry about is getting your business to the point, or your income to the point, where you can afford to pay for it in cash, or you can afford the payment, and then obviously you can finance it. Now, if on the other hand, if you just can barely afford the payment, and you obviously you can't afford to pay for it in cash, then and you find yourself stretching yourself to make the payment, you obviously should not finance the car. Get your income to the point where you can pay for it in cash or comfortably afford the payment, and then obviously finance it or pay for it in cash, whatever you want to do. It's all up to you in the end. But hopefully this video I've kind of answered those two common questions. How much money do I need to make to afford a $100,000 exotic car? And also, is it okay to finance an exotic car? More Lambo videos coming soon. Thanks for watching this video.